All right. The Monday morning tape has just hit the global terminals, and what we are witnessing in the opening hour of today, March 2026, is a total ask vacuum in the physical silver market. John AG has been tracking the transition from the Sunday gap to the Monday melt-up for over a decade, but the data hitting the terminal in the last 60 minutes suggests that the bridge to the old pricing model has been incinerated. While the mainstream media is trying to maintain a narrative of orderly market behavior, the internal plumbing of the global exchanges is screaming that the liquidity has officially hit a dead end. We are looking at a world where the spot price has become a total fiction, a digital mirage that no longer commands the movement of a single physical bar. The registered inventory at the COMEX, which we watched reach the terminal floor of 72 million ounces, is now functionally frozen as the exchange moves to an emergency allocation protocol. The melt-up is here, and it is being fueled by the realization that there is no metal left to settle the paper lies. The data hitting the private terminals regarding the Monday open is simply staggering. We are seeing physical delivery requests in the Eastern shadow markets opening with a no-offer status, while the Western digital screens are attempting to calibrate a price that no one is willing to sell at. John AG is doing the math for you. The arbitrage gap has now expanded into a total market decoupling. Why is this happening this morning? Because the March delivery window that officially entered its first full business day has revealed a 300% oversubscription for physical metal. The bullion banks have promised atoms they do not possess, and the Monday melt-up is the market's final verdict on the insolvency of the paper exchanges. The shorts are now trapped in a vacuum where every attempt to cover only sends the physical premiums higher. You cannot print silver to satisfy a delivery notice, and the world has finally realized that the bank vaults are hollowing out in real time. Look at the divergence in global sentiment as the Asian session hits its peak. The Shanghai Gold Exchange has officially moved to a physical settlement-only model for silver, effectively cutting off the Western banks' ability to use paper shuffles to influence Eastern prices. John AG has warned you for years that the price discovery power would eventually migrate to the hands that actually hold the physical bars. Tonight, that migration is complete. Every primary refiner in Mexico and South America is reportedly under state lockdown instructions to prevent any further shipments to London or New York. This is a strategic resource embargo that is currently decapitating the Western supply chain. The West is being decoupled from the physical reality of the industrial world, and the Monday melt-up is the sound of the system snapping under the weight of a debt wall that can no longer be serviced with paper promises. The systemic overload we discussed throughout the weekend is now manifesting as a total ask vacuum in the interbank lending markets. We are receiving reports of collateral denial from every major clearinghouse in the European corridor tonight. John AG knows that in the world of high finance, when the silver collateral disappears, the entire pyramid of rehypothecated debt begins to collapse inward. They are using the Monday morning window to try and implement manual price overrides, but you cannot override a physical deficit. If the bars aren't in the vault, the paper is worth exactly zero. This is the bail-in maneuver entering its terminal phase. They are attempting to preserve the institutional architecture by sacrificing the digital balances of the retail public. This is why financial warfare education is no longer an option. It is a survival requirement. The Monday melt-up is the funeral procession for the unbacked dollar. The industrial panic has reached a state of absolute hunger for the global tech sector as the production lines open for the week. John AG has primary sources inside the supply chain management of a major Tier 1 semiconductor firm who says they have been told no delivery possible on their silver contacts for the remainder of the quarter. They are no longer checking the ticker because they know the ticker is a lie. They are now competing directly with the military-industrial complex for the last remaining 1,000-ounce bars sitting in private storage. Tesla and Samsung are sending direct agents to the secondary markets, offering $200 an ounce for scrap grain just to keep their assembly lines from hitting a dead stop. The green energy revolution is hitting a brick wall made of a physical silver deficit, and the manufacturers have realized that the paper market is a fraud. They are bidding for reality at any cost tonight, while the Western screens are still flashing maintenance error. The news from the Mexican mining sector remains the alpha driver of 2026 as we head into the first full trading week of March. The deployment of military security at the mine gates has now evolved into a national sovereignty seizure of all refined silver inventory. Mexico, the world's leading producer, has realized that their physical metal is a more stable reserve than the currency they are being paid for it. John AG is tracking the diplomatic cables, and the de-dollarization of the silver trade is now effectively 100% complete in the producer nations. If Mexico formally redirects its silver flows toward the BRICS settlement ledger, the Western registered vault hits absolute zero by the end of the day. The miners are refusing to dig for digital dust, while the world is starving for physical conductors. The Western supply chain is in a state of cardiac arrest, and the Monday melt-up is the final surge of electricity before the lights go out on the old system. The $35 trillion debt wall is the mountain that is currently falling onto the banking system this morning. The interest on the U.S. debt is now a mathematical wildfire that is consuming the entire global financial structure in real time. John A.G. sees the price suppression of silver as the final, desperate act of a dying currency. If they let the price of silver reflect its true scarcity, the dollar's credibility vanishes instantly. But you cannot suppress a physical deficit once the vault is khali. The registered inventory numbers are a death sentence for the bullion banks. The silver is gone, moved to jurisdictions that value physical reality over digital illusions. The bail-in is the only tool they have left to prevent a total bank run, and the Monday melt-up is the market realizing that the exit has been locked from the outside. The collateral is missing, and the debt is all that remains. Look at the gold-to-silver ratio as it compresses toward the 25-to-1 mark in the Monday morning pre-market. This is a historical revaluation that has been suppressed for 50 years by bank manipulation. John A.G. has shown you the data where silver acts as the volatile variable that captures both industrial panic and monetary flight. While gold is the anchor, silver is the rocket fuel. When the ratio reverts to its natural geological mean of 15-to-1, which is now a mathematical certainty given the physical shortage, the price of silver will enter a territory that the mainstream media will call the greatest wealth transfer in human history. The rubber band has snapped, and it is destroying every naked short position in the global terminal. The reality is that silver is the most undervalued strategic asset on the planet, and the value gap is closing in front of your eyes today. The melt-up is just the beginning of the repricing event. Every emergency update I provide is rooted in the primary source data of the vaults and the delivery notices. The tape today is telling us that the plumbing of the Western exchanges is functionally blocked by a lack of collateral. We are seeing record-high fails to deliver being reported as the Monday session opens its first full cycle. This means that even the institutional players who thought they were safe are discovering that their metal has been double booked by the bullion banks. John A.G. is telling you that the Monday melt-up is the final warning for anyone holding digital claims on physical assets. In a world of cyber polygon risks and digital surveillance, the physical bar in your hand is the only financial record that is truly sovereign. If you don't hold it, you are merely an unsecured creditor in a system that has just declared mathematical bankruptcy. The face of shock you see in the thumbnails is the face of the institutional banker who realizes that the first notice day was not a technical glitch, but the start of the final run on the bank. John A.G. sees this panic in the volume profile of the Monday trades. There is a massive ask vacuum. People are bidding $160, $170, $180, but no one is selling physical bars. The owners of the silver are sitting tight. They know that the Western system is insolvent and that a force majeure event is the only logical conclusion for the COMEX exchanges this week. The hunter has become the prey, and the prey is out of silver to feed the monster they created. The Monday melt-up is the only place where the truth is being told tonight, and the truth is that silver is becoming unpriceable in fiat terms. The paper system is burning, and the physical is the only survivor. The central banks of the BRICS nations are currently finalizing the digital ledger for a new physical-backed settlement unit that positions silver as a core pillar of the new economy. John A.G. is tracking the diplomatic flows, and the de-dollarization of the silver trade is now 90% complete. When the world's major manufacturers and energy producers decide to trade in a unit backed by the very metals they need to build their future, the global demand for the dollar drops to zero overnight. We are watching a hostile takeover of global price discovery by the people who actually produce the wealth. The paper changers are being evicted from the temple of finance, and they are leaving with nothing but digital codes that no longer command physical atoms. The Monday melt-up is the opening bell for the new monetary era where physical metal is the only law. The no-hype philosophy is about looking at the mathematics of the drain. If you look at the Indian and Chinese physical import data from the last 24 hours, the demand for good delivery bars has increased by a factor of 15. The small man in the East has realized that the paper system is a trap designed to steal their time and their labor. They are choosing the payment over the promise. John A.G. knows that there are 8 billion people on this planet and only a few 100 million ounces of deliverable silver left in the West. The door to safety is only wide enough for the 1% who acted before the force majeure was announced. When the masses realize the banks are empty and the registered vault is at zero, the rush into silver will be the greatest transfer of wealth in 500 years. You are not speculating, you are insuring your very existence against a systemic reset. Mexico's shift toward nationalization is the ultimate confirmation of the strategic resource war. If the Mexican government decides that silver concentrate is too vital to export to the West, the COMEX registered inventory becomes a historical footnote. John A.G. is monitoring the diplomatic tension, and it is at a level not seen since the Cold War. The West is realizing that it cannot run a high-tech military or a green economy on paper silver. They need the metal, but the metal is in the hands of the producers who are now demanding a seat at the table of global power. If you don't own the physical metal in your own possession, you are merely a spectator in a war that is being fought for the future of the human race. The Monday melt-up is the signal that the exit has been closed forever. The collateral is gone. The industrial hunger for silver in 2026 has reached a terminal point where the military-industrial complex is now in a direct bidding war with the tech sector for every available ounce. Every high-tech missile, every satellite, and every advanced communication system requires silver for its superior conductivity. John A.G. has confirmed that the strategic national stockpile in several Western nations is functionally zero tonight. They have cannibalized their own reserves to maintain their current defense posture. This means there is no backstop for the currency. There is no government rescue coming when the retail public finally realizes the banks are empty. When the registered vaults hit zero, the market will move to no offer status. You won't be able to buy silver at any price because there will be none for sale in the Western exchanges. The price will become infinity for those who must have it. The John A.G. logo stands for Financial Warfare Education because we are in a war for the truth. The banks have the media, the politicians, and the printing presses. But we have the tape. We have the numbers, and most importantly, we have the physical. Today's Monday Open is a total validation for everyone who ignored the hype and focused on the registered drain. We are on the right side of history, and the great wealth transfer is the event we are living through as we speak. The $35 trillion system is functionally dead. It just hasn't realized it yet because the digital screens are still pretending everything is normal. But the Monday melt-up proved that the illusion is fragile, and the reset is inevitable. The physical world is finally demanding its due, and the paper lies are being consumed. As the London shadow markets prepare for the Monday morning fix, the ask prices in the private dealer networks have jumped another 30% in the last 4 hours. John A.G. is seeing silver bars being traded for gold bars at a ratio of 25-1 in the private vaults of Singapore. The official price is a joke that only the uninformed still believe. The real price is being set by the people who have the metal in their possession and are refusing to sell it for fiat currency. This is the market decoupling in its final stage. By the time the mainstream news tells you that silver is the new gold, there will be none left to buy. You are the early minority who saw the math, tracked the tape, and prepared for the exit to be closed. The melt-up is the sound of the shorts being crushed. I want to highlight the psychological warfare being used against you today. The headlines today will talk about technical glitches and sudden speculative volatility. This is a lie designed to keep you from pulling your money out of the failing banks. They want to trap you in the bail-in zone before the full New York Open. John A.G. has seen this movie before. In every crisis, they tell the public that everything is fine, right up until the moment they lock the vault doors. But the 2026 scenario is different because the physical shortage is so acute that they cannot hide it with paper contracts anymore. The truth is leaking out through the premiums, through the delivery failures, and through the empty, registered vaults. Don't be a victim of their digital illusions tonight. The melt-up is real. The Monday melt-up wasn't a glitch. It was a strategic breakout. The East is preparing the world for a new system where value is based on physical assets, not debt-based promises. John A.G. knows that silver is the ultimate freedom asset. You cannot turn off a physical silver bar with a keystroke. You cannot tax a transaction that happens in physical metal outside of their digital surveillance system. This is why they are so desperate to keep the price suppressed. They want you dependent on their digital lies. But the physical world is finally demanding its due. The producers are striking, the East is bidding $160, and the vaults are empty. The paper system is burning, and the fire is spreading to the foundation of the global banking infrastructure. The melt-up is the funeral of the dollar. We are heading into a window of time that will define the next decade of your life. The March delivery madness has reached a terminal velocity, and the bullion banks are staring into an abyss of physical default. John A.G. predicts that we will see force majeure declared on several major commodity exchanges before the Monday close. This will effectively end the futures market and move the world back to a physical-only trade model. The paper trap has officially snapped shut. If you are in the physical, you have a seat on the lifeboat. If you are in the paper, you are part of the ship. Stay sharp, watch the tape, and remember, the system has officially snapped under the weight of the silver shortage. The collateral is gone and the truth is out. I'll leave you with this final thought for the morning update. The exit is closed, the vaults are empty, the bail-in is live. John A.G. will be back for the 7:30 a.m. morning update as the New York session opens to what will likely be a total market meltdown. We are living through the greatest wealth transfer in 500 years, and the data is the only light in the fog of financial warfare. Stay disciplined, watch the premiums in Shanghai, and for the love of everything, keep your eye on the physical. The paper market is a sinking ship, and the fire has reached the boiler room. It is time to step out of the illusion and into the reality of physical metal. The Monday melt-up has changed everything. All right, I'm out.